Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about more properties in Algebra 1. We're going to talk about the associative and the commutative property. So we have two goals today. One is we want to recognize what the associative and commutative properties are. And second, we want to utilize those properties to simplify expressions. Simplify. I like that word because that means we're going to make things easier. And I think that's something you want to do also. Right? Okay, so let's go ahead and dive on in. Let's talk about these two terms. Associative property What is this? This is a grouping. Got a little sloppy there. Grouping of three or more numbers. Now this three or more is going to be very important. When adding or multiplying does not change the sum in the case of adding or product in the case of multiplying. Okay? But let's remember this three or more. This is very important. Okay, let's look at this from an algebraic standpoint. So if we have x plus y plus z. Whoa. That's a crazy looking z there. Uh-oh, what happened? Undo. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. I hit a button that I shouldn't have hit. Okay. Plus z. This is the same if we rearrange the order in the parentheses as x plus y plus z. There's no difference. So that's for addition. Let's look at multiplication. If we have x times y times z, this is the same as x times y in parentheses times z. It all comes out to the same answer. Alright, now we looked at this with letters. Let's look at this with numbers. So if we have 1 plus 3 plus 12, this is equal to 1 plus 3 plus 12. Either way, you come up with 16. Alright, now let's look at in multiplication. 1 times 3 times 7. That's the same as 1 times 3 times 7. Either way, you get 21. It doesn't change the answer. So this is the associative property where you group different numbers in addition or multiplication. And it doesn't change the answer. That being the sum for addition or the product for multiplication. Alright, now let's look at another property, the commutative property. Okay, this is the order of adding or multiplying numbers it does not change their sum or product. Okay? So, again, adding is for sum, and multiplying is for product. Okay, the answer to multiplying is called the product. Adding the sum is called the the answer is called the sum. All right, let's look at this with some letters. Let's say we have x plus y. That's the same as y plus x. Okay, so we rearrange this, it doesn't change it. Similar to the associative property, but the associative property is with 3 or more. Okay, and let's look at this with multiplication. Let's say that we have x times y. This is the same as y times x. Okay, let's look with some numbers. Let's say we have 1 plus 3. That's the same as 3 plus 1. They're both 4. And let's say that we have 7 times 12 and 12 times 7. Either way, you get 84. All right, let's look at some examples. Try again. All right, let's say that we have 1 times 3 times 7 times 10. Well, we could probably rearrange this to make this a little bit simpler to solve, okay? So our goal is to rearrange, to simplify, and then once we simplify it, we will solve. Okay? So I see over here, we have the smallest number, we see over here the largest number. So let's move those next to each other. Okay? So this is equal to 1 times 10 times 3 times 7. The reason why I did that is if I take the smaller and the larger number and multiply them, it makes the problem a little simpler because the numbers are not so large. If I get 1 times 10, it's only 10, but 7 times 10, that's 70. That's getting to be large numbers. So let's go ahead and group these. 1 times 10 times 3 times 7. Okay? So when I rearrange these properties in this step here, what was this called? This is the commutative property. You can kind of think of it as commuting. Like if you go to school or to work, you're commuting. The commutative property, you're moving. The associative, we are grouping. Okay? And that is this step here. Because these associate with one another. When you group them, it's kind of like you have a colleague or something like that. You associate with them. So you're grouped together. All right, so now let's solve this part, and then let's solve this part. So 1 times 10 is 10, and 3 times 7 is 21. Now let's look how much harder this might have been. 4 times 70, if we did, 3 times 70. If we did 1 times 3 and 7 times 10, it's a little bit harder, but 21 times 10, we know that's 210. All right, so let's look at another example. So that example was with multiplication. Let's look at an example with addition. 1 plus 3 plus 7 plus 12. All right, so we're going to use the commutative property and rearrange the bigger and the smaller with each other. And you don't necessarily have to do it in that order. It's just that simplifies it in my brain, and that's completely just my opinion, okay? So I'm going to move this over. So we're going to have 1 plus 12 plus 3 plus 7. So this is called the commutative property. All right, now let's do the associative, where we group things together. All right, we group the 1 and the 12 and the 3 and the 7 together. This is called the associative property. All right, so this is 13 plus 10, which is equal to 23. All right, not too bad, right? All right, let's try to build a table and talk about some different properties that we've learned so far. Okay, let's say we'll put properties over here. And let's give some examples of each. We have addition, and we have multiplication. Okay, and we're going to list out, we have the commutative, the associative, we have identity, we have the zero. Alright, I'm going to draw some lines here. And then below this is not going to be related to addition or multiplication. We're going to have the distributive, and we're going to have the substitution property. Alright, so let's talk about the commutative. So this was when we say for addition, x plus y is same as y plus x, right? And for multiplication, as x times y is equal to y times x. And you don't need 3 or more terms to do the commutative property. The associative property, we do need 3 or more terms. So we have x plus y plus z is equal to x plus y plus z. Okay, for addition. If we look at it with multiplication, we have x times y times z is equal to x times y times z. Alright, so we group with parentheses here in different orders. Alright, now let's look at the identity of 0. If we do a plus 0, anything plus 0 is itself. It's like looking in the mirror. So that just becomes a. Let's look at a multiplication identity, and that's with the identity of 1. If we do a times 1, what is 1 times anything? Itself. It's like looking in the mirror again. So this is a. Now at any point during the videos, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause and rewind and rewatch. There's nothing wrong with that, and you need to watch at your own speed. Alright, we're going to put a big NA here. And we're going to look at a multiplication 0 identity. So if we do a times 0, what is that? It is always 0. Anything times 0 becomes 0. Any number. Alright. So now let's talk about the distributive. Alright, so we did this last time, and this is x times y plus z is the same as x times y plus x times z, and y plus z times x is the same as y times x plus z times x. Alright, and then for the substitution, if x is equal y, then x may be substituted for y. Okay, so let's look at an example. Alright, sorry if you hear baby number 3 crying in the background there. Let's look at this example where we want to simplify a plus 3 times 7 plus a. Okay, and we're going to name off which rule, which property that we're using as we solve this. Okay, so we do the distributive property, and we say 3 times 7 plus 3 times a. So this is the distributive property. All right. Next step. We got a plus 3a plus 21. So here we rearranged these terms after we did our multiplication. Okay, and this is called the commutative property, right? We move them around. All right, then we ended up with, let's do some grouping, a plus 3a, because those are like terms, plus 21. And what is this called? I'll let you tell me. If you said the associative property, that's right, because we grouped like terms. They're associating with one another. All right, now we're going to do the distributive property again, and we're going to take out the like term. Now, what value is before this a? What coefficient is there? It's a 1. That's correct. So that'd be a times 1 plus 3. Well, we want to keep white here. 1 plus 3 plus 21. Okay, this is the distributive property again. All right, now, gotta keep my colors straight here. We want to use the substitution. Okay, so 1 plus 3 is 4, so this is 4a plus 21. Four is equal to 3 plus 1. All right, great job. All right, so now I'm going to give you a written expression, as we talked about before. And we want to write an algebraic expression of it. So the written expression is 1 times the sum of x and y plus 3 times the sum of x and 7y. Okay, so we want to write an algebraic expression. I think you know how to do this. We've learned this before. So we have 1 times the sum of x plus y plus 3 times the sum of x plus 7y. All right, great job. Now the next step is we want to simplify. I love to simplify. So let's list out the steps as we do them. All right, we want to simplify this. So we got 1 times x plus 1 times y plus 3 times x plus 3 times 7y. And this was using the distributive property. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and multiply this out. X plus y plus 3x plus 21y. All right. Next step, we want to do the commutative property because we want to get the like terms next to each other. So we got an x here, an x here. We have a y here, and we have a y here. So let's do the commutative property, right? This is going to be the commutative property. x plus 3x. Now what is the coefficient in front of x? 1. Good job. So 1 plus 3 is 4. 4x. Plus, we have 1y plus 21y, which is 22y. Oh, I am getting ahead of myself here. We just want to move at this stage. So we got 1x plus 3x. We want the x's next to each other and the y's next to each other. All right, now we want, excuse me, to do the associative property. All right, so let's put this in parentheses since the x's are together, and the y's, let's put those in parentheses. All right, now we want to do the distributive property. And so we can bring out the like terms. So x times 1 plus 3 plus y times 1 plus 22. All right, and one last step, we want to do substitution. So 1 plus 3 is 4, so 4x. 1 plus 22 is 23, 23y. All right, we simplified. We started out here at the top with this 1 times x plus y plus 3x plus 7y. We simplified it to 4x plus 23y. Okay, let's look at a problem. And we're going to look at some rectangles. And so these are the lengths of the two sides, which are going to be equal on the other side since it's a rectangle. And we have a question. What property can be used to show that the areas of the two rectangles are equal? So the area of a rectangle, if we recall, we have two sides of two different lengths. The area is equal to A times B, the lengths of the two sides that are not equal. All right? So let's say that A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 6. So then this would be 5 times 6, which is equal to 30. Now, let's say that instead of this, we have an area that's B times A. Is that the same as A times B? Let's see. 6 times 5 is equal to 30. Their product is equal between these two. So what are we doing here? We are rearranging, but we do not have three terms. So do you know which property this would be? It's not the distributive property. It's not identity. It's not zero. There's no zero term here. No substitution. Not associative. We don't have three or more. What's left? Commutative. Great job if you already knew the answer. Okay, this was Multipro, and I look forward to seeing you in the next subject. If you like what you see, click like and subscribe. I will see you next time.